Who were you in a past life? Most people, when they think about reincarnation, the first thing they think of is, I wonder who I was in a past life. Sometimes they even have some clues, and sometimes they're right. My name's Andy Sway. I do past life regression here in LA and throughout Southern California. And I just want to talk a little bit about past life regression and give you an idea of the most important thing that is achieved through this. There are a lot of things that are achieved by doing past life regression. Finding out who you are on a more eternal level, meaning the different lives you've lived. Healing issues psychologically, emotionally, physically, mentally, all of that. Deep healing happens under this. But the most important thing about past life regression for me is that you connect to your higher self. Now, we all have an ego and we all have a higher self. And if you could see a printout of every thought you had during a 24-hour period, and you could put whatever the higher self says as part of your thinking process in red letters, you'd be surprised how intertwined your thought process is with your higher self. You'd also be surprised about how systematically you probably ignore the information that your higher self is giving you. And that's a shame. So the kind of past life regression that I practice is called the Quantum Hypnosis Technique, or QHHT, developed by Dolores Cannon. And this method is very cutting edge, very intense. The sessions that I offer are 4 to 5 hours long. We sit down and we talk for a couple hours. We go through your entire life story. We also talk about what you can expect from the hypnosis session and prepare you. I also do that on the phone as we make the appointment. You can find out about all of that at my website, andysway.com, andysway.com. You can email me, andysway@yahoo, or you can text me at 212-505-7729. So, what's the point of getting in touch with the higher self? The point is that you have a genius that is part of you. This is the part that knows all of your past lives already. This is the part that knows why you're here. Now, the thing with the higher self, it's the same with all these non-physical entities, guides, angels, whatever you want to call them. They can't interfere. The most they can do is kind of give you a nudge, give you a whisper. But they can't come in and take over. Because, as Dolores Cannon used to say, it wouldn't be a test if you already knew the answers. The idea of incarnation, reincarnation, that I've seen in my over 1,500 past life regression sessions that I've conducted, is that we are of a lighter frequency in our non-physical state, and that we kind of volunteer for something that's difficult, called a life on Earth. One analogy that I give: nobody lifts weights just in case someday they might have to lift weights, right? You don't lift weights in order to lift weights. You lift weights in order to build your body or to be strong to do other activities usually. So you don't lift weights just to lift weights. You don't lift weights just in case you might have to lift weights sometime in the future. You choose to have this obstacle, this weight, that you contend with by lifting it. You're doing something unnatural in order to have a certain impact. So people say, well, why would I choose a life like that? Why would I choose those parents? Why would I choose this crap that happened to me in childhood, right? Well, that's the weight. That's the resistance that you chose for your training, resistance training. And you set it up in advance. Now, not the you that's listening to me now, the you behind that, the higher self you set it up. And then kind of volunteered to forget who it really is and have a life. Now, I don't say this based on my belief system. Everything that I believe about past lives, reincarnation, the afterlife, all of that, comes from the 1,500 sessions that I've done. When 1,500 people tell you a similar story, you start to believe it eventually. And even then, with a grain of salt, because the way I feel, it's kind of like if you've never eaten an orange, 1,000 people could tell you what an orange tastes like, but you're never going to really get it until you eat the orange. It's probably the same thing with leaving your body and going into another realm, the non-physical realm. But what I can say is that out of 1,500, almost everybody has reported a very similar thing happening at death, a very similar reason for being here. I mean, everybody has their own specific reasons, but the overall. And so I tend to believe that there is an afterlife. I tend to believe that we do reincarnate. And because how am I going to listen to 1,500 people tell me that and not kind of believe it a little bit, right? That'd be kind of weird not to. It would almost take an agenda to say I'm not going to believe in reincarnation no matter what evidence is presented to me. So anyway, on my YouTube channel, which you're on right now if you're watching this, but it's Andy Sway. If you look up, there are a couple of instances, there are a couple of videos of hypnosis sessions that you can watch and you can see what happens. Now, all I will say is that your session will probably be nothing like those. So it'll give you a little bit of an idea of how it goes, but don't expect your session to resemble their sessions in any way. Anyway, I do the sessions. I generally travel to my clients, and especially during this COVID era, I think that's highly appreciated because I can come to your home, office, apartment, whatever. We can begin with masks on, and then when we do the session, we can sit 10 feet away or so, more than the minimum 6. And I can do the entire session from that distance. We don't need to get closer. And if we do, we can put masks on. And if you really insist, we can wear them the whole time. Although I think it might not be ideal for you to have a mask on during your hypnosis session. Anyway, sessions are $400 within an hour of my Hollywood location. And if I have to travel farther, like Orange County, Kern County, San Bernardino County, something like that, it's going to be more. And you'll have to talk to me on the phone, and we'll go over that. We'll figure that out. But one thing I'll tell you, I'm not going to surprise you when I show up and add more because traffic was worse or something like that, right? I'll give you the quote, and that's what it'll be. I ask for a 50% deposit when we make the appointment, and then the rest at the time of the appointment. And all you need to do really between setting the appointment, text me at 212-505-7729, email me, andysway@yahoo. All you need to do is put together a list of questions for your higher self. And I recommend 5 to 20 questions. You can write more, but I recommend 5 to 20 because If you keep the questions really open-ended, you need to understand. If you're doing this work, it's probably because your higher self wants you to do it. It's probably the one kind of nudging you to give me a call. And it knows what it wants to tell you. All you need to do is get out of the way. Now, some people worry they can't be hypnotized. Everybody can be hypnotized. The only thing that gets in the way is your doubt. So if you're really committed to your doubt and you stick with it the whole way through the session, you can interfere. You definitely can. But that's why we take 4 to 5 hours. That's why we talk for a couple of hours before the session even begins. Because we want to start getting you into the place where you're receptive to this higher part of you. So anyway, check out my website, andysway.com, or text me, call me, whatever. If you're ready to discover the more eternal you, I can help you do it. So thanks for watching.